Today we want to talk about the 8 life-changing lessons that we've learned being married for 8 years.
Yes, celebrating us.
It was our anniversary just the other day, and we
Oh.
thought we'd come on and just share these 8 lessons that we've identified.
There's been so many, but we thought, let's focus on 8. It's been 8 years, so 8 years married, 19 years together, over half of our life together.
Yeah, and we actually got together in high school, so we're high school sweethearts.
Yes.
And so we've been together through some of the hardest times, really, in terms of growth, because between the ages of 15 and we're now in our early 30s, there's a tremendous amount of growth that happens in that time, and we've had 2 kids as well, so we've both been on our own growth journeys, and it's been trying to come together in that, and then you have kids and throw that in the mix, and it's a bit of a hurricane.
But it's been an incredible journey, and we're just so grateful to be where we are right now, especially after the last 3 years, which were the hardest 3 years.
Winding the clock back about 3 years ago now, we were actually getting very close to getting a divorce. We sort of got to this place where we'd grown apart, and we'd had our second child, and things were very stressful, and it was a lot of extra pressure, and we just didn't know we didn't have the skills, we didn't have the communication skills or the tools to learn how to come together in those moments, and how to actually repair our relationship and take it to the next level. So we had to take a good hard look at ourselves, and eventually, after a lot of pain, we reached out for help and learned some new skills, and we want to share some of those, 8 of those with you today.
Hopefully so we can speed up the journey for you, because let's just real talk, relationships take work. They are 100% worth it, but they definitely take work. And I think a lot of us get into our relationships and marriage thinking that it's one thing, and it ends up being very different. Let us know if you can relate in the comments. I think a lot of women that I speak to share this with me all the time. We're married, but it's not what I thought it was going to be. Or we're in a relationship, but it does not look like I thought it was going to look like. And it's hard, especially because there's all this, this vision out there in the media and in the movies, and it's not real. It's not real life. And social media doesn't help either. So we kind of get this distorted view of what we think relationships should look like, which then makes us feel like ours are wrong, or we're broken, and
we're failing,
or we shouldn't have problems. And we just want you to know that you're not broken, your partner's not broken, you're not failing. It is very normal to have challenges in your relationship, especially if you're like us and you've been together for since high school. If you've been high school sweethearts and you've gone through your life together, but even if you haven't and you haven't been together that long, it's very normal to have challenges in your relationship. And it's really helpful to actually learn from someone who's got over those challenges, or reach out for help, or read a book. If you had a challenge in any other area of your life, you would get help. So we need to really break up with the shame. There is so much shame around relationships and having challenges in relationships, and that's what we really want to break. We really want to be really honest and vulnerable, and that's why we share our journey, because we had to break up with the shame. 3 years ago, when we were questioning divorce for the first time, there was definitely a feling of shame.
So much shame.
Oh my God, what have we done wrong? What's wrong with him? What's wrong with me? Why are we failing? How did we get here? And when we actually decided to drop the shame and just dive into it and just learn the lessons along the way, it was like, wow, the shame is what was keeping us stuck. The shame is what was keeping us separated from the truth. We couldn't move forward with all that shame. So if you have some shame around where your relationship is right now, speak it out. The only way to remove that shame is to speak it out. Speak it out with your partner. Speak it out with a friend, with someone that you feel safe and you can trust. Book in a call with us and speak it out with us. Just make a decision to pull it out. Pull that weed of shame out so that you can move forward. That is really what we had to do in order to get where we are today. We had to just face that shame, and then we could move forward. So once we were able to do that, and we were able to overcome the shame, and make a commitment, make a decision to work on ourselves and work on the relationship and make our relationship a priority, then we were able to go through the process, go through the journey, and learn so many lessons. Like we said, way too many to share in one YouTube video. But these are 8 of the most powerful ones, I would say, the ones that had the biggest impact for us.
Yeah.
Some of them are really simple, but hugely effective and powerful.
Yeah, absolutely. So number 1 is communicate from your heart, not your head. And this is something that I predominantly struggled with for a very long time. I was very much in my mental body, in my mind. And, you know, we see this show up with both women and men. It's not just men.
Yeah.
So, you know, identify which one you are.
Yeah.
Whether you're more heart-centered or whether you're more logical and in your mind. But relationships don't run on logic. They run on emotion. And we connect with our hearts. That's what sends out the electromagnetic field, which then connects with your partner on a scientific level, energetic level. So if you want more love, you need to be communicating from your heart and not from your head. Your head is there, it's your ego, it's there to protect you. But in a relationship, you don't need protecting. That's not going to get you more love. It's going to get you less love and disconnection.
And women deeply want the connection.
Yeah.
They deeply want the connection and they never feel it from the head.
Yeah.
So if you're a woman and you're in your head or your partner's in your head, like number 1, learn how to get into your heart. And we share so many ways to do this. It's really simple and really powerful. There is some blocks to move through. Adam had lots of these blocks to move through. He had a lot of resistance to being in his heart, and maybe you do too. Like if you've had trauma or the way you were raised or the way you were loved as a child, all of these patterns show up and they make you form these walls, you know, and this kind of like barrier or armor. And it makes you close off from love because you're trying to close off from pain. But the thing is, you can't just close off from pain. When you close off from pain, you close off from it all. Love, joy, everything you want to experience. So learning how to get into your heart is huge. And honestly, it's number 1 because it's been the greatest gift to receive, to finally be at this place where I feel like I can actually reach Adam's heart. I can actually feel his heart. And I have his presence now. That's what every woman craves. That's what is really what she means by I want your time, is she wants your presence. She wants to feel connected. And if you're in your head, she's never going to feel like you're present. She's never going to feel like you're connected. So that's number 1, because it's been the most powerful gift for me to receive. It's been the one thing that I craved for years in our relationship, like over 10 years. And really it's been the one thing that's made the biggest difference for you as well in not just your love for me, but your love for yourself,
love for myself,
kids, for your
learning
life.
how to identify how I'm feeling and then how to communicate that. And that all comes from the heart and comes from feeling what's going on inside of you, not from your head. Your head's useful for some things, but it's not very useful in relationships most of the time. So that's number 1. Number 2 is put yourself first. So what we realized through all this work is that we couldn't give to the relationship until we were full. And if we went to our partner trying to do all the things, trying to please them, trying to give them what they want, but we were empty, you end up building resentment. And then from a place of resentment, resentment's like this filter, this lens that you see everything through in your relationship, and it gives you cloudy vision. You're not seeing clearly. You literally you start to look through resentment. And this was happening to us. I was looking at Adam through the eyes of stress and frustration, and you know, he was looking at me through the eyes of criticism. And you're married to a nervous system. So this is what happens when you don't meet your own needs and you go to your partner for them to meet yours, but they're empty and they're not meeting their needs. There's 2 nervous systems that are like fried. On high alert.
And they're in fight or flight, and then they're reacting to each other constantly. And the way you avoid that is by meeting your own needs. You know, yes, you want to meet the needs of the relationship, but if you're just going to the relationship to get, it feels needy. It feels desperate. You're repelled. You want to, you don't want to lean in. You want to lean out. You know, nobody's attracted to needy, desperate energy. So how we overcame this was learning that we have not been meeting our own needs. And then we've been coming to the relationship full of expectation, full of these, you know, unrealistic expectations and expecting perfect, which doesn't exist. We're not even perfect. And then we're disappointed, frustrated, angry when we don't have to get all of our needs met from our partner. We can meet some of them ourselves. We can meet them in other ways or through other people. And then we can come to the relationship and meet the needs of the relationship. So this one's been huge. And if you've been raised with conditional love and like we were people pleasers, I was a perfectionist, like, you know, Adam was raised as a good boy, it makes it very hard for you to meet your own needs. You may not even know what your needs are. And if you don't know what your needs are, Adam didn't either, that's the first sign that you're disconnected from yourself and you're not meeting your own needs. So really important, start meeting your own needs so that you can meet the needs of like your partner, your family, like everyone. It's crazy. You wouldn't drive around your car with no fuel in, would you?
Of course not.
No. So why are we like walking around in these bodies with no fuel? You need energy, and you only have so much energy in a day, and once it's gone, it's gone. So, you know, you're most likely in reserves and empty, and that's why you're angry, you're resentful, you're lashing out. Like, it's coming from this like inner child inside of you that's like, hey, hello, pay me some attention, like give me what I need.
And to give you some examples, for me it was things like doing a workout every day. Instead of just going to work, serving at work, and then coming home and serving the family, actually saying, I feel like doing exercise today. So I'm going to give that to myself first thing before anything else. For you, it might be reading a book, it might be going down the beach, it might be whatever sport or hobby.
Going for a dance, doing some yoga, like drinking a hot, delicious like cacao or chai or tea or whatever it is. But you know, get curious about
whatever fills you up.
Doesn't matter what fill your cup, literally. Meet your needs, fill your cup. Really important. That's number 2. Number 3, make your relationship a priority. We spoke about this a bit in the beginning, that this was how we ended up in this place of thinking we needed a divorce, because our relationship stopped working because we stopped working on the relationship. We literally just were like, I'll get to the relationship once the kids are sorted, work's done, the house is clean, the lawn is mowed. Like, the list is never ending. It's never done. And so you never get to your relationship, especially after having kids. We stopped dating. And we had these love droughts. We weren't spending quality time together. We were just like passing in the hallway. It became like a friendship, which is fine if you're happy with just a friendship. But most relationships today are looking for passion. We want passion. We don't want to just be married to our friend. We want passion. We want intimacy. And if you want intimacy, you need to spend time together. You need to make your relationship a priority. If you want intimacy, you need to have an intimate relationship. There needs to be some attraction. So this was massive. Like, this could be a whole thing on itself, but like, make your relationship a priority. There's so many different ways you could do this. You could start dating. You could read a book together on your relationship. If your partner's not interested, you could start working on your relationship. Do one of our programs. We've got heaps of great short like challenges that you can do to work on your relationship. You could start and then invite your partner into it. There are so many ways to start making your relationship a priority. And just need to note that why it's important to make it a priority is because you get your priorities. You don't get what you want. And this is what, you know, 3 years ago, we wanted a great relationship and we were like wishing and hoping. Wasn't happening. Why? It wasn't a priority. So it makes it just so clear and simple. If you don't have what you want in your relationship right now, it's not personal, but you need to take the feedback that it's not a priority. There's other things that I'm valuing more than my partner right now. There's other things that I'm valuing more than our relationship right now. And that's okay if that's okay to you. But if that makes you feel a bit like, which is how we felt 3 years ago, we were like, that doesn't feel good because this is the foundation of our life. So what do we need to do? What do we need to do? We need to make it a priority. And then when we did, everything shifted. And then everything else can move around it, which is really, really beautiful and powerful. So that one's huge.
So number 4, do the inner work.
Yes.
What we mean here is, a lot of us, like we already alluded to earlier on, we all have these things that have happened to us when we were kids.
Yes.
So whether your parents raised you a particular way and they had certain beliefs about money or relationships, or maybe they had a divorce, or maybe you were abused. And all of these little things, whether it was your parents or it was a teacher or even friends and family, they leave these lasting imprints on us. And a lot of the time, we're basically all just kids walking around in adult bodies. And we've got these little wounds that need to be healed. And we both had our own wounds.
Definitely.
And continue to work on them. but they'll show up in your relationship, and you need to, if you look at your relationship, more than likely, most times, most of the time this is the case, it'll be like your parents' relationship.
Yeah.
And all of us hate to admit that because we don't want to be like our parents most of the time. But that is generally the case, because most of us don't do the deep work to clear out the garbage and to create some new habits and behaviors and patterns that create the relationship we really want. So,
and it's not that you are broken or there's anything wrong with you. We learn love and relationships from our early attachments before the age of 7. So it's not your fault.
No,
like
it's not.
You don't know what you're going to experience before the age of 7. You probably don't even remember all the details of what happened, but it's in your subconscious. And from that experience, you've formed a belief that like love is painful, or love, love hurts. So I need to protect. I can't show all of myself. I need to hide. I need to wear a mask. You've formed all these beliefs. It's all in your subconscious. So unless you go and do this work, which I believe is the real work we're all here to do, look inside of ourselves and actually look at these patterns and ask, is it serving me? Is this getting me what I want? Unless you go and look at it, it'll still be there. Even though you're not looking for it, it's there, because it was in our relationship. We see it in couples all the time that work with us. And these patterns are running havoc in your relationship. They are completely causing destruction. And we are just blaming the other person, or, blaming anything, rather than taking responsibility and going, hang on a minute, why am I reacting like that? That really reminds me of my mum, or that really reminds me of my dad. Where did this play out in, like, when I was growing up? Where did I see this? Where did I learn it from? Because we've all just been programmed. We are all being programmed every day, and we are from the day we're born by our environment, conditioning, our role models, events that happen. It all programs us. So the good news is we can reprogram. So you can reprogram to love. Nobody is perfect. Our programs are not perfect. Our parents do the best they can do with what they know.
Yeah, of course.
But we're parents, and we know we're doing the best we can, but we still need to learn. We don't know it all. And there's a lot we've had to unlearn and heal so that we don't pass on that wounding to our children. Which is really important to us, that we break these generational patterns of hurt and pain, because hurt people do hurt people. But if you make a decision to heal, you can break that pattern and you can pass on the healing, which is just beautiful. So powerful. It gives me goosebumps. I feel like that's what we're really here to do.
Absolutely.
The other part of this one is also realizing that it's not just about the house, the car, the kids, the dog, the holiday. So a lot of us focus on the outside thing of, like we said in the beginning, what you think a relationship is, and then you get into it and you're like, oh, okay, I've got the house, we've got the kids, got the job, got the dog, got the car, not really feeling fulfilled. Not really feeling like this is what I was going for. And that is because we're kind of conditioned by society to focus on the outside. If I have that, then I'll be happy. If I've got this amount of money, then I'll be happy. If I've achieved this, then I'll be loved. Doesn't work, because it's an we're going from the outside in, when this job is an inside out job. So that's the other part of doing this inner work. This inner work thing is huge. It's never ending. We're still on this journey. There is no end to it.
It's the whole reason why we're here, really, I believe.
It's evolution. So
don't seek an end. Just get curious and
just get on the journey. You're already on it, but just consciously get on it. And then you can start responding, taking the feedback, reprogramming yourself, unlearning, relearning, and there's so many powerful ways you can do this. Like. Meditation is a great place to start. Journaling, just inquiring within. This is a huge part of our program. In our program, a huge part of it in the beginning is learning how to go within. Because if you can't do that, then you're not going to get the other things. You're not going to be able to create intimacy. You're not going to be able to create a connection. You're not going to be able to understand your partner, because you don't even understand yourself. So it's such a massive part of the whole program, because your relationship with your partner is a reflection of your relationship with yourself. So if you don't have much of a relationship with yourself, you're not going to be able to build much of a relationship with your partner or anybody. So it's really important. It's huge.
So next one is lesson number 5.
Yes.
Be willing to open to another perspective.
Yes.
This is a huge one we both had to learn, but me especially. I was very one of my mechanisms was a protection mechanism due to some things that happened to me in childhood. And so I was very, very close to other people's perspectives. It had to be my way or the highway, basically. So I would pretend to listen, but I wasn't actually taking it on board, and I wouldn't go and do what the person had said, even though the idea was actually better than mine. And it can cause a lot of pain for everyone. It means that I was struggling, trying to do it all myself and trying to do it my way, which wasn't working most of the time. And it was really painful for Aston because she would share so many great ideas with me and give me a lot of feedback that was helpful. Yeah. But I wasn't open to receiving it.
Yeah, I can laugh about it now, but it was so painful. It was excruciatingly painful. Like, the number one need of women is to feel heard.
Yeah.
Hello, Adam did not do this for most of our relationship because he was like, my idea's better, my idea's better. So I didn't matter what I said. Even if I said his idea, the fact that it came from me, he just would reject it. And that was really difficult. It was really hard to, stay loving towards somebody who just wouldn't open to your idea. But luckily, I had done the inner work and I was able to get curious about what is the emotional needs underneath going on for Adam. And I could tell that this was a protection mechanism, that he didn't feel safe, that he was worried about being hurt, and it was bringing up some trauma from the past. So luckily, I had that awareness. Like, it's huge. Like, that's part of the inner work as well. And part of being open to another perspective is having the awareness. If you don't have the awareness of, like, your behavior and how you listen, like, being open to another perspective, a huge part of that is deeply listening. Most of us have a really hard time with deeply listening. I had a hard time with deeply listening. I love to express myself and talk. And Adam doesn't talk as much as me, but he still found it hard to deeply listen because we literally have these mechanisms of, like, it's my way or her way, or she's right or I'm wrong, and all these conditioning that gets in the way from allowing us to just have multiple perspectives existing at once. And that's how the universe works. Like, God, universe, whatever you believe in, multiple ideas can exist at once, and they don't have to be in conflict. Yeah. But when you're raised with conditional love, or with if you were been around people who are, or yourself, you are insecure, you bring that to your relationship, then you do have this need to be right, or this need to control and to never be wrong because we don't want to fail. If you have any of that, it's going to make it really hard to be open to your partner's perspective. So we had to break up with right and wrong, good and bad. It's just different.
Yeah.
And literally men and women are so different that if you can't break up with that, you're going to have major problems and be fighting, like we were for years, fighting about the differences in men and women, which is crazy because you can't even change that. Yeah. Because he is the way he is and I am the way I am. Yeah. Like, biologically, we can't change that. Chemically, we can't change that, unless you choose to change it. Yeah. But as we are, that's as we are. And if we can't accept that, then it makes it very hard to forgive. It makes it very hard to let things go. And all of this just builds walls. We just stack bricks, and then there's no connection, there's no love. And we know this, if you can relate, if you're like, she's speaking to my soul, we know this because we've been there. Yeah. So we know how it happens, we know why it happens, and we also know how to literally start taking those bricks down. And that's what we teach in our program, how to take these bricks down so that you're not stacking against each other, because it's extremely painful.
It is.
I mean, if you can't feel heard and understood and listened to in your relationship, then where can you? I mean, this is meant to be that safe place where we can be all of ourselves. We know we've got each other's back, that we love each other no matter what, and that it's like us against the world. But a lot of people don't have that in their own home. A lot of people's homes are not that loving and supportive. Yeah. And this is a big reason why. So that's a big one.
So lesson number 6, which we just touched on briefly, but let go of right and wrong and forgive.
Yeah.
Instead of being so attached to your ego, to your perspective, like I was, just let go and just listen.
Yeah, be open, be willing.
And when you make a mistake or you realise you've hurt your partner, say sorry.
Yeah, take responsibility.
And forgive. Forgive your partner when they make a mistake too.
Yeah, radical.
There's a lot of healing in forgiveness, and a lot of us aren't doing enough of it. We all make mistakes. Just say sorry and forgive.
Yeah, you're not perfect. Like, radical self-responsibility and full ownership. Yeah. Because if you can't own it, you can't disown it. Yeah. So we're totally okay to say, I'm totally okay now to say I'm wrong. That was a mistake. I'm sorry. Adam is as well. And as soon as you do that, you want to forgive someone. If someone's vulnerable to you, and that's a big part of letting go of right or wrong, it then opens the door to vulnerability. When someone's vulnerable with you, you don't then like shame them or blame them, or you don't. You meet them in that vulnerability. You want to lean in. So just vulnerability in itself, when you can let go of right or wrong, it heals. It just really dissolves so much of that.
Absolutely.
Could talk about that forever.
Yeah.
Number 7, learning about masculine and feminine energy. This has been huge,
a game changer
for us.
And it's something that we never learn about. I had no clue of it until I was about 30 years old.
Yeah.
I absolutely no clue. No one talks about it. It doesn't get taught in school. None of your friends are going to talk about it. But it's the fundamentals of who we are, both like biologically and psychologically, how your body and brain works as a man and as a woman, and the energy behind that, and then how to harness the power of that to come together in a relationship and create real strong polarity. So you're attracted to each other, because when your energies are too similar, there's no pull. You're not pulled together. Yeah, you're just like friends.
Yeah, and you need that, like, to bring that intimacy back. Polarity is what you need. Polarity. Like, it was so obvious once we learnt this why we kept falling into those love droughts, because whenever that happened, it coincided with a lot of stress in our life. And whenever a man gets stressed, the chemicals in his body, if he doesn't know how to override those chemicals, he will go more into his feminine. He'll get overwhelmed. He'll feel like it's all too much. He'll just want to escape and just like check out. And for a woman, the chemicals do the opposite. They make her go into her masculine, and she's like, I need to get it done. I've got to save the family. I've got to work it out. And this is what was happening to me. When we had a lot of stress, or in moments of stress, we didn't know before we learnt this to actually realize, okay, it's not that I'm being a bitch or he's being a dickhead or asshole or whatever. It's that he's stressed and his chemicals have taken over and he needs help to get back to his masculine. So Adam needed to learn ways. I mean, there's way too much to talk about.
Certain strategies and tools that I can use now in the moment when I identify that I'm being triggered by something, or I'm getting overwhelmed with a bit too much stress. There's tools I have now that I can use to get back to that state of feeling more centered, more calm, and not allow that cortisol, that stress hormone to overtake me and push me out of my natural energy.
And increase your testosterone and just come back to center and your natural energy, which is masculine. And same for me, there's tools and strategies I've had to learn to be able to come back to my feminine in those moments of stress. And it feels so much lighter. Like, my oxytocin increases now all of the time because I know to practice that. And I can now do that ahead of time if I know that, okay, I've got something coming up. I don't want to feel stressed. I need to increase my oxytocin. Like, it's huge. And we all have masculine and feminine energy. Like, I have masculine, feminine, Adam does. We all have both, but you have one core energy that you live from. That is your natural energy. That is the essence of who you are. And if you have a relationship and you are not connected to the energy of your relationship, this is why you'll be reading the books, doing the courses, listening to the podcast, and then nothing's changing. This is why we work with the energy when we work with couples in relationships, because yes, you need to know the stuff. Yes, you need to practice the stuff, but you also need to embody the energy of what it is. That the energy of your relationship is a living, breathing entity. It has an energy. So if you don't know how to get into that energy, how to cultivate it, how to build it, then you're only going to be doing the surface level stuff, which is what a lot of people end up doing. They know not to criticize each other, or, they learn a few like skills on the surface, which is great, but they don't end up lasting or build lasting change because you're not connected to the energy. So you need that core understanding of the energy for the changes to be able to actually happen and be lasting, and for you to be able to constantly build on it. We still use these tools. We still connect to the energy. Like, it helps us pinpoint where the problem is. It's not in your partner. If you just blame your partner, you're never going to move forward. You're losing your power. You're giving your power away by just blaming them. If you can identify, okay, it's that I'm not understanding the differences in men and women, or we're out of alignment with our natural energies. Those tools, and knowing that, having that understanding and embodying it, really helps you to get to the core of what's going on and to heal it, to fix it, to move the energy so that you can feel better in the relationship. So it's massive. I could go on forever about it. Number 8, be open to learning more about what it takes to have an extraordinary relationship. And basically everything that we've been sharing is a great place to start, but we are always learning and we are always curious about evolving and growing in our relationship, because it's like a plant. If you don't water a plant, it dies. If you don't nourish it, it doesn't grow. And that's the same for our relationship.
Your relationship, it's either getting better or it's getting worse. There's no in between. So you're either working on it or you're not. So you need to make a decision about, do you want it to get better or are you happy for it to get worse?
Yeah.
And then do the work, read the books, go to the courses, engage a coach, whatever you need to do, but get the help you need to improve.
Yeah, definitely do not sit in like idling in like that holding pattern of just waiting, hoping, wishing. Just think about anything in your life that, if you've had a challenge in your life or something's happened in the home, like a block pipe or something, when you hold, just, that's broken or it's blocked, but I'll just wait and see if it resolves. Like, what happens? Honestly, look at your life and take the feedback. Whenever you just have a holding pattern, you don't do that thing, you just let it get worse. Like, it doesn't get better on its own. Nothing gets better on its own. We have to be willing to participate in our own rescue. We have to be willing to participate in our own lives. Yeah. And, those challenges are gifts that you're having in your relationship. Whatever challenge you're having, they are actually a gift. I know it doesn't feel like it when you're in it. We know that. We felt that. But on the other side, we realized every time we were able to look at that challenge and go into it and get support, get help to go into it, unravel it, learn the lesson, it was a gift. We grew individually, we grew in our relationship, our whole family grew. Like, we were able to learn lessons and move forward. So just take that lesson with you. Like, do not wait. Do not wait. Do not think that it's going to get better by itself. Nothing gets better by itself. Like, if you left your block pipe, you'd end up flooding the house. And then you'd be wishing, why didn't I just deal with it when I noticed the block? Yeah. So, and this is what we do all the time. If there's blocks or kinks in the hose in our relationship, we deal with it. Yeah. We don't wait for the pipe to explode. We don't have blow-ups anymore, like a lot of people have in their relationship, because they just suppress, like forget about it. Yeah. Don't talk about it. It's all fine. It's fine, until it's effed. It's completely effed because they flip their lid, they blow up, and all this stuff comes out. And it's like, where did all this stuff come from? Yeah. Like, geez, how long has this pipe been blocked? And some of us are carrying around a lot of stuff. Wow. Yeah. So, so if that's you, this is your sign to do the work, because the sooner you start unblocking those pipes, the easier it is to move forward, the easier it is to get what you want in your relationship. And I don't know about you, but I didn't come here for average. I didn't come here to experience average relationships. Like, if you're in our world and you're tuning into our stuff, I think you're our people. And, what we really value is love. What we really value is growth, taking responsibility, serving ourselves and serving each other so that we can make a bigger impact. Like, that's our values. That's what we live and breathe. And, if you're not tending to your blocks, then you're not living and breathing that. You're not showing yourself love, for one. You're not showing your relationship love, and you're definitely not going to grow. So, that's really key. So there's literally so much more we could share, but I will save it for another video. Yeah. But we would love to know your biggest takeaways. Like,
drop them down below in the comments below.
From the lessons that we've shared, which lesson hit home for you? Which lesson did you need to hear? Which lesson resonated the most if you're in a relationship or you're married? Or what lesson are you struggling with right now? Like, what lesson are you, like, you're like, man, I'm struggling with that right now. Like, several of these lessons were a struggle for us. Just be real talk, really honest. It wasn't easy. It wasn't easy to learn these lessons, but it's been 100% worth it. And there's some of them I found really hard, like the learning to let go of right and wrong was huge because of the way I was raised and the conditioning that I had around that and the beliefs I had about what it meant if I was wrong. There was a lot that I had to unpack there. But now I'm totally okay with it. I can fail, I can make mistakes, I can be wrong, I can learn, I can take the feedback. It makes life so much easier, not just in my relationship, but with my young children. We've got 2 under 5. it's been really powerful for me. So share that with us. We'd love to know what is your biggest takeaway, what has resonated, what are you struggling with right now, and put it in the comments or send us a message, and we'll support you and we'll help you, because we really care. Like we really care about this because we've been there. We're really passionate about it because we've been there, and we're in the dark. So we want to turn the light on for you. We want to shine a light to help you know, to give you hope that there is a path out of this. There 100% is a path out of it. If you got yourself into it, you can get yourself out of it. We believe in you. We want to support you, and
absolutely.
Let us know if you've loved it.
If you've loved it, guys, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe. And if you want to come work with us, we've actually got some free calls available. If you check out the links down below in the comments there, you'll be able to see where you can book in a free call with us, and we can see how we can help you. And we'll see you in the next video.